Welcome to this week's edition of In Depth for a closer look at what is making mining headlines in the Americas. Quebec has been selected as the top destination in the world for mining and exploration investment for the third consecutive year, according to a closely watched industry survey. Mining Week's deputy editor for North America, Lizzo, who is based in Toronto, Canada, joins me to discuss the news. Welcome to the show, Lizzo.
Thanks, Martin.
What were the main findings of the survey?
Well, as you said, the respondents chose Quebec, Canadian province, as the most attractive destination for mining exploration and development from around the world. The Fraser Institute, a Canadian think tank, included the opinions of 670 mining executives and managers on the mineral policy and endowment of 76 different jurisdictions around the world, and that's from all the continents except for Antarctica. And the reason that the respondents gave for rating Quebec so highly was its stable mineral policies that have stayed the same and are expected to stay the same for some time. And that provides the certainty that they need for these long-term projects. And it has great mineral potential.
Okay, if Quebec is still number one, how did the other Canadian jurisdictions and the US jurisdictions fare in this survey?
Well, Canada continues to dominate the top 10 rankings of the Policy Potential Index of the Fraser Institute. Canadian province Alberta came in at number 4th, and then there were 3 other Canadian provinces. That's Saskatchewan, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Manitoba that all came in also in the top 10. Outside of Canada, Nevada was number 5 in the Policy Potential Index, and then Chile came in at number 7. That was the only Latin American country to come in the top 10.
Were there any surprises from elsewhere in the world?
Well, when you look at the top 10, Finland, there were 2 countries actually just from outside of the Americas. Finland was one of them that was up in the top 3, and then just squeaking through into the top 10 was South Australia. But when we talk about surprises, actually interestingly coming back to Canada and the US, there were 2 Canadian provinces that really put in quite a poor showing, Ontario and British Columbia. Ontario actually dropped down from number 10 last year down to number 22 this year. And British Columbia, on the other side of the country, was number 24 last year and is all the way back down to number 38 this year. And the reasons that the respondents gave for that was they cited multiple levels of mineral policies and rules, poor communication between the different government agencies and departments, and then also uncertainty over Aboriginal land claims in the province.
Were there any other interesting findings to come out of the survey? Well,
one thing that the Fraser Institute stressed, it's really, the survey really does make for very interesting reading, but the one thing that the Fraser Institute stressed was the level of optimism that respondents expressed about not only the prospects for higher mineral prices, but also just the general prospects of the industry, especially compared in contrast with last year's doom and gloom in last year's survey. There's 2 other things I should mention. The one thing was there's an index that they do for mineral policy, assuming or mineral prospects, should I say, assuming that there are no restriction on land claims and no restriction on, or assuming industry-based practice. And the jurisdiction that actually came out best in that index, interestingly, was the Democratic Republic of Congo. And then also something else to mention is the top country out of Africa was Botswana, and that came in at number 21. And then just the final thing, the last 5 countries in the Policy Potential Index, the worst 5 countries, those were, it was the DRC, Zimbabwe, Ecuador, the Philippines, and finally Venezuela. South Africa actually interestingly dropped down from number 41 last year all the way down to 61 this year.
Well, thank you for your time, Lizzo. That was the show for today. Join us again next week for more news and insight on mining in the Americas. Thank you. I'm Martin Joaquino in Johannesburg.